The Six Grandfathers is a mountain in the Black Hills of South Dakota. The mountain was named by a Lakota medicine man, Nicholas Black Elk, and the Six Grandfathers refers to the six ancestral deities personifying the six sacred directions: north, south, east, west, above, and below. It was a place for prayer, vision quests, and other traditional acts of devotion for many of the Great Plains people. In an interview with National Geographic, Donovan Sprague, head of the history department at Wyoming Sheridan College and member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, described the Six Grandfathers and the surrounding Black Hills as the center of the universe of our people. But in the 19th century, as American expansionists pushed west, Euro-American settlers passing through indigenous territory began engaging in increasingly violent clashes with Native people. What worried the young U.S. government in all of this was that it was mostly the white people ending up dead in these skirmishes. So, in 1868, the government and the Lakota signed the Treaty of Fort Laramie, which recognized the Black Hills as land belonging to the Sioux people, and in exchange, the tribes agreed not to attack railroads or settlers, and also gave up many thousands of acres of land to the U.S. government. The land recognized as the sovereign land of indigenous tribes became the Great Sioux Reservation. But in 1874, General George A. Custer found gold in them there hills, triggering a gold rush in the Black Hills, and the U.S. government broke their treaty with the Sioux, seizing the land in an early display of, we're the U.S., who's gonna fucking stop us? Very soon, prospectors and miners flooded the region, bleeding the Black Hills of her riches. By the early 20th century, the natural beauty of the Black Hills had turned the new state of South Dakota into a popular early road tripping destination. And what, you might ask, is a road trip without a tacky tourist trap? Secretary of the South Dakota State Historical Society, Dwayne Robinson, was just asking himself the same damn thing when he heard about a guy carving up a mountain face for the KKK in Georgia with gigantic sculptures of Confederate generals. So, Dwayne Robinson set his sights on the Six Grandfathers, now renamed Mount Rushmore, and sent a little DM to the artist working on the racist mountain picture in Georgia, asking if he'd be interested in working on a commission for a little racist mountain picture of his own. And that artist is who this episode is going to be about today. An artist named, are you fucking ready for for the most respect the dead name?
Charles Rushmore.
Nope. An artist named Gutzon Borglum. Welcome back to Respect the Dead, the podcast where we don't.
Sweaty. It's no surprise that everybody celebrated your demise, and now worms are eating your eyes. So don't you worry your rotten head as you sleep in your sodden bed. It's time to respect the dead. It's time to respect the dead. It's time to respect the dead.
Gutzon! Gutzon!
That's not real, is it?
Gutzon Borglum.
How do you spell it?
Gutzon Borglum. Gutzon Borglum. His Swedish chef sounding motherfucker.
Okay, this is giving like fantasy, but not good fantasy.
Yeah.
Like that's not okay.
Really, really bad racist Game of Thrones fanfic.
Yeah, like what is this? Where is he from? Is he Swedish?
He's American, but he's got his dad and his mom were Danish. So it's Danish. The ugliest fucking Danish name I've ever heard.
Yeah, he sounds like someone who has a dad and a mom.
Oh, we'll get to the dad and the mom and the other mom.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
We love
so-
bisexual poly representation.
Well, the subject of this episode was submitted to our suggestion cemetery by Imogen. If you would like to recommend a future subject for an episode, you can go to patreon.com/respectthedead and sign up at the weirdos tier or higher. That's the $15 tier or higher. And submit a future corpse for an episode.
Thanks, Imogen.
Thanks, Imogen.
For doing the job for us. Well paying.
Yeah, thank you. This really, really helped me out here this week. Listen, I spent so much time living in OJ land. I was like, I need to check out this suggestion cemetery. You really came through for me, Imogen. John Gutzon de la Mata Borglum was born on March 25th, 1867 to Danish-American Mormon polygamists Jens Mahler Hogard Borglum and Christina Mikkelsen Borglum.
Yes.
So Gutzon's other mommy was Christina's sister, Ida.
Ooh, okay. Ida Borglum?
So actual sister wives.
Okay.
Which is a little freaky.
Families that are in a cult together can
Fuck
never
together.
escape together.
It's true. Oh, no. So Jens Borglum, Daddy, eventually decided to leave
Daddy
LDS.
Borglum.
Daddy Borglum. He got a little tired of it. He was like,
yeah,
having two wives is hard work. So he left
Honestly,
LDS.
It sounds like it.
I know, especially when they're sisters, because you've got that like sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
That doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go away when you start fucking the same man.
No, I think it would go the opposite of a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he leaves the LDS church and he moves to Omaha, working mainly as a wood carver before. Okay, just like right at the top of this episode,
the Mormon out of the man, but
yeah, there's right at the top of this episode. There's like so many like Kalen Conrad hits in a row. So like he worked mostly as a wood carver before he decided to attend the St. Louis Homeopathic Medical College. We got Mormons, we got sister wives, we got homeopathy.
Oh my god, you know how much I love a cult and a snake oil salesman.
I want the book about Jens. I really do. Fuck his artist son. I want to hear about this Mormon fucking homeopath.
I love the idea that like you're gonna leave this like cult that you're in and be like, I'm gonna carve my own path. I wonder what I should do. And then they just like stumble upon some guy who's like, has anyone ever told you water has memories?
It really
like,
is.
No, but I believe you.
And to this day, Mormons are still selling homeopathy. I know.
Oh my god, are they?
I think so, because they do lots of like MLM stuff, don't they? So they sell the expensive shitty water.
Oh my god.
I think they're more into aromatherapy, which is like less bad, because then at least you're just smelling things.
Yeah, and it's actual stuff. It's not like
not just water.
Vanilla. It's like vanilla. It's vanilla extracted into an oil.
The memory of vanilla. That is my favorite LaCroix flavor.
Oh god, I love it so much.
Jens eventually divorces Gutzon's real mom, Christina, choosing Ida over her. But in 1884, when Gutzon was 16, divorced or no, the whole family packed up and moved to the place that all sickos go, Los Angeles, California.
Mormons love packing up and moving.
They sure do, especially west. They love to go west.
Migratory. What a migratory peoples.
Those nomadic momos. Jens was unhappy in California and soon returned to Nebraska, but Gutzon stayed behind. In California, Gutzon studied art, and through his studies, he met a divorcee, 18 years his senior, named Elizabeth Janes Putnam. Lisa Putnam, as she was known, becomes something of like a teacher and a mentor to Gutzon, and she also becomes his lover because he likes older women. I
Mhm.
like that. I like a guy who's into older women.
Yeah, I feel like
It's uncommon. You don't
it,
see it a lot.
it's not something. I think it's like probably not actually that uncommon, but it's like one of those things where it's like there's shame attached to it, so it's not discussed.
Right.
But like, I'm sorry, I don't know like a single like man who's attracted to women who's like, you know what I hate?
Sexy
Sexy
older
older
women.
women. Yeah, like
I
literally.
guess
Like, I'm
it's
sorry.
yeah, it's
If
more that it's uncommon on this podcast
oh yes.
because we talk about bad people who are like, how old is she? 14? Let's go.
How old is she? 14. I'm in her room.
Gutzon worked for a few months in LA as a lithographer's apprentice before lithographer?
I
I
think
don't know.
lithographer.
Lithographer? As an apprentice before opening a small art studio, and through this art studio he like made a bit of a name for himself. And in 1888 he completed a commissioned portrait of General John C. Fremont, which was very well received, and through this project he realized how important it is as an artist to have wealthy patrons.
That's so
Speaking
true.
of, I feel like you should join our Patreon at patreon.com/respectthedead and become our wealthy patrons. All of our patrons get access to the morgue, which are bonus companion episodes to each subject in the main feed. And like I said before, patrons at the weirdos tier higher can suggest future episode subjects, and we might even get around to doing them one day.
Yeah, I recently remembered that list existed, so that will be something I do very soon.
And it's useful for us too, because like you would not be hearing about this guy if he wasn't submitted to our suggestion cemetery, because I'd never heard of him before this.
No, it's so difficult to pick people too because
Yeah.
you're like, if you're gonna do a banger, it's gonna be like, well, okay, there's another like 1 month of research, and it's like, well, I actually
Yeah.
don't have a free month. Like,
Sometimes I want to do these like little freaks.
I
these
do love a
little
good
these little
like
Gutzons.
freak appetizer.
This is more like my freak aperitif, because again, I just did a 2-parter on O.J. Simpson. So now I'm like, I just need like a little after dinner mint. Gutzon also made friends with Jessie Benton Fremont, General Fremont's wife, who helped him sell a lot of his work. Gutzon and Lisa were married in 1889. Should we do like a little ad break? We're around the 15-minute mark-ish.
Yeah, they just got married, so now we'll
So
cut to
let's do
black
wedding
because
things.
the wedding night the wedding night happens. They go into their honeymoon suite, and then we fade to
Mhm.
black for the ads.
Right. Because this is a classy podcast. We're not going to show you
Yes.
any of that smut. They just
No.
like romantically kiss, and then we fade to black. Music swells. And then you get an ad for a wedding dress.
Do they? Oh, yes, like a bridal shop, right? Yeah.
Do they sell wedding dresses?
Well, I'm like, do they just like have an ad for a wedding dress? Like, just like a single dress in the ad.
Used.
It's like,
Yeah.
I hope this is the one you want, because we have
Our
like
stock of
we
wine.
just carry this.
The newlywed Borglums traveled to Paris to work and study art. The name doesn't get
It's
old, does
never
it?
not funny.
And it's like, I can't, I mean, both
Borglum.
names are silly. So I can't call him by his last name. Like, it'd be one thing if he was like Borglum Smith or something, then I could just call
Yeah.
him Smith and it'd be normal. But his first name is Gutzon and his last name is Borglum. So it's really pick your poison.
Borglum is giving those two fetuses from
It is
my
giving fetus.
my AFR video
Yeah.
about
It sounds juicy.
the
It sounds
anti-abortion
gooey.
clinic. Like,
It sounds like its
oh.
bones aren't fully formed. Nasty. Gutzon studied at the Julian Academy and the École des Beaux-Arts. Don't speak
Is
French.
that French? Oh.
And as in California, Gutzon experienced some moderate success as an artist, and he also did some really good networking in Paris, becoming close friends with the sculptor Auguste Rodin, who carved the Thinker. You know, the guy like
Is that this
sitting
guy?
and thinking. Yeah, it's like there's all kinds of
Oh,
parodies of him on the toilet, you know, thinking.
I'll Google her.
Yeah,
Me thinker.
pull her up.
You should not have your hand on your face like that. That's so bad for your skin. Yeah, he's like,
The bacteria.
yeah.
Gutzon then spent a year in Spain before returning. I love this like grand tour. Wish that were me.
Yeah.
Gutzon then spent a year in Spain before returning to California, and 3 years later, in 1896, he traveled to England, where he also experienced a modest amount of success, with some of his works being displayed at Windsor Castle for Queen Victoria. He returned to the United States in 1901, and he came home alone because his marriage with Lisa was already dissolving 12 years in. We're getting that 12-year itch.
I mean, she probably felt like she made a little bit of a mistake. Like, yes, he's successful, but she probably had to take his name.
Yeah, 12 years in, you really get sick of being called Mrs. Borglum.
like
Mrs.
introducing
Borglum.
yourself at the bank and them just like being like, did you have an account with us, Mrs. Borglum?
Mrs. Borglum sounds like someone who runs like a home for orphans and abuses them.
She 100% sounds like an orphan abuser.
Yeah.
And on this channel, we protect orphans.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we protect orphan abusers.
No, we're making a dramatic switch. Now we are very
We're now pro-orphan. Okay.
I want more orphans. I want
that is
more orphan visibility. We need more of them and they need to be
we need
seen.
more of them. Yes, yes. Luckily for Gutzon, aboard the ship home, you know, newly single.
The way I'm 100% going to be calling my cat Goose Gootsum now. Like...
Goots. Oh, little Goots. Goots is cute. If I were Mrs. Borglum, I'd call him Goots.
Yeah.
And then we'd be Goots and Hoots.
Okay, well that's adorable.
So he met Lisa's replacement on the ship home. He was just like, first woman I lay eyes on, you, I'll marry you. She's an American woman named Mary Montgomery, who had just completed her doctorate at the University of Berlin. I think that's pretty cool. He does seem to be attracted to like successful women, you know, like
yeah.
Lisa was like a painter as well, like an artist as well, and Mary Montgomery was like a little PhD. Gutzon and Mary wed as soon as his divorce from Lisa was finalized, and they bought a house and a farm in Connecticut and named it Borgland.
These people are sick in the head. They know what they're doing too.
I know.
They know what they're doing.
I love it.
They're
I love it so much. Yeah, Borgland.
That's 100% a ship post.
Welcome to Borgland, baby. My parents do nickname their house Hootville. So they're like, come over to Hootville.
It would be like if I was like, welcome to my apartment. I call it K-Land.
Like, K-Land is cute. I like that.
It's just like, it's too cringe. It's too earnest
K-Land.
for me.
Love it.
I want to be like, welcome to the faggot emporium. Like, I feel like that, like, faggots Cove.
Welcome to my twisted house.
My twisted apartment.
You would be twisted to live in an apartment.
Sick fuck.
Back in America, Gutzon was commissioned to carve some angel statues for the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. And Gutzon was the kind of guy that, like, didn't take well to criticism or, like, feedback on his commissions, because he was a bit of a queen. So there's this story that a clergyman visited the studio while Gutzon was working on the angel statues, and he made some kind of, like, comment about, like, one of the angels needed to have, like, a sterner, more masculine face. And then so Gutzon responded by, like, starting a public debate about the gender of angels. which was, like, reported on in the press. They were like it was like a debate between Gutzon Borglum and the church going back and forth for weeks. Love it. Honestly, I stan.
Angels are just like a pile of eyes and wings. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
If you want to make them biblically accurate, they don't have a gender.
I do love him coming in though and being like, could he be like hotter? like when I touch his face at night.
I want him to be stern.
I want him to be angry
Solid.
at me. Also, I love the idea of being like, can we just change a couple things on this statue? Like, it's not like an article. Like, I just carved that. That's insane. Like, it's not that simple, I would imagine, depending on what you're, like, making the statue out of.
Yeah. I mean, he was a very good sculptor, so I think he could, like, make changes pretty easily.
Okay, so
I mean,
was, like,
he did make
sculpting,
changes to
not,
things.
Like, chiseling it out of marble or whatever. Like, he can just add a little bit more sculpt.
He sculpted things out of mountainsides. So yeah, he was chiseling, but he was good at, like, making changes. He was very good at his job, but it is still, like, you know, effort. Yeah. And he liked having the prettier angel. He liked having a little FFS angel.
Like, I love my femboy angel.
Yeah. What do you mean you want him masculinized? He's perfect the way he is.
If he's masculinized, then how am I going to jerk off to this goddamn statue?
Okay, but, like, could we at least remove the cat ears? No!
This biblically accurate femboy.
My cat boy streamer angel.
With, like, 600 ears.
Oh my god. Someone's gonna make that fan art.
Please, God.
So Gutzon eventually did make 2 angels outside the church more manly, because you do ultimately have to appease your client. But he left the angels inside the building looking more feminine, and he saved the model of one of the scrapped faces for himself and later cast it in silver.
Like, you're coming home with me, baby.
Oh my god, Gutzon femboy lover confirmed. One of Gutzon's most famous works back home in America was a bust of Abraham Lincoln that he was able to exhibit in Theodore Roosevelt's White House. I'm actually going to send you a picture of it.
He's so miserable.
Yeah.
It's like well carved.
Yeah. I think that's just Abraham Lincoln's face. He was
that's what
he was a depression boy. Yeah.
He
had that depression.
Boy, Abraham Lincoln.
He was a sad boy. Just as an aside, once again, one of his, like, famous friends would like, Theodore Roosevelt would become one of his, like, famous wealthy friends and benefactors, which is pretty much the reason Teddy Roosevelt's face ends up on Mount Rushmore.
Nepotism.
Gutzon, yeah. Presidential nepotism. Gutzon made the original Lincoln bust directly from Alabama marble. So, like I was saying, like, he chiseled that from marble, without a plaster model, based on photographs of Abraham Lincoln and an 1860 life mask made of his face. And Robert Todd Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's son, allegedly exclaimed upon seeing it, "I never expected to see father again." And then he later said of it, "I think it is the most extraordinarily good portrait of my father I have ever seen." That's kind of a sweet thing to say. I never expected to see father again.
Okay, but it is like, it is giving orphan behavior. Like,
He's an orphan.
like I never expected to see father again. And I'm like, it's not your dad, it's a statue, you dumb fuck.
We're pro-orphan.
Get outta here.
Remember? We're
Right,
pro-orphan
right.
now.
Right.
So this is great. We support
This is
this
great.
orphan behavior. More orphans.
More orphans now. Okay, yeah, I love it. It's cute.
So
now.
just in terms of size, because you can't, in the picture that I sent you, you can't really like see it next to anything. It's about 40 inches or 100 centimeters high. It weighs about 375 pounds, which is 170 kilograms. And it's currently on display in the Capitol Crypt in Washington, D.C., which was always intended to have, which it was intended to have like the bodies of like presidents in it. There's nothing in it.
just this one giant head.
Just a giant head and basically an empty space. A beautiful empty space. But yeah, all the presidents who have died have been like, we kind of would like to just be buried like on our own property, not
like with our family.
not in like a tourist stop.
That's so funny. Respect the Dead, we do love a crypt.
Yeah. Preferably a full one though.
Yeah, no, like brimming.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to be stepping over those fucking presidents.
Yeah. I just want to be climbing up piles of presidents.
Like bones rattling.
Should we take another little ad break?
Yeah, let's see if we'll get an ad for bones or crypts or funeral services.
Yeah, funeral services.
Yeah.
Memorial, sadness, orphans.
Funeral.
The Lincoln portrait was highly acclaimed, and ironically, because it's Lincoln, it was what inspired Helen Plain of the United Daughters of the Confederacy to reach out to Gutzon Borglum, asking him to carve a bust of Confederate General Robert E. Lee on Stone Mountain in Georgia. Gutzon agreed to visit the site in 1915, but upon seeing the size of the mountain face, he said, "Ladies, the head of Lee on the side of that mountain would look like a postage stamp on a barn door." He offered an alternative to Helen's vision, a large group portrait featuring Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and Jefferson Davis on horseback, followed by a column of soldiers, and they contracted him for the job. I've actually been to see Stone Mountain is the only place in Georgia that I've been to, and I've seen the Stone Mountain.
Is it stony?
It's it's like a big, the side of the mountain that it's carved on is like just big and flat. It's a carving on the side of a mountain. Not much to say about it.
I'm like, yeah, sounds, it sounds
big.
like a carving on the side of a mountain.
It's like, sure is a carving on the side of a mountain.
Nobody could deny that.
No. While at Stone Mountain, Gutzon became associated with a little club that you may have heard of called the Ku Klux Klan.
I was about to say the Ku Klux Club.
The Ku Klux Club. Ku Klux Kids. Is that what they call their daycare center? The Ku Klux Kids Club? Say that 10 times fast. Or don't.
I will not. Like, nobody tells me what to do.
So there is, to this day, some debate as to whether Gutzon Borglum was sympathetic to the KKK or a committed white supremacist, but at the very least, he was willing to hang out with them and take their money in exchange for carving images of their heroes into a mountainside. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to say
feel
he's
like
earned his place on this podcast.
yeah. I don't personally, I will say, I don't know anyone who's like, the one thing I'll tell you about the KKK is I would hang out with them. Like,
Yeah. Even if your relationship with them is like a little bit contentious, you're like, God, my friends in the KKK are so annoying. I don't even like them. Like
I have to go to my best friend, like Kathleen. I assume all their names start with K, like the
Kathleen,
Kardashians.
Karen,
Kardashian.
Kardashian.
It's her birthday. But it's
Yeah.
always so awkward because you're like, the last time I went to one of their parties, I was talking to this guy for 15 minutes and I didn't even realize it wasn't my friend because I couldn't see his fucking face under the hood.
It's actually
Do
really
you think
fucking
they wear
annoying.
that at like social events? Just like drinking through a straw through the hood?
No. You couldn't have red wine.
No. On a Halloween, they all get like jack-o'-lantern ones.
It's actually like really fucking hateful too. I mean, like not in aside from like the normal ways in which it's hateful,
Yeah.
but like making everybody wear white. Like, what if you just gained a little bit of weight? It's like such an unflattering color.
Yeah. What if you're at like a cute event, but it's in like a backyard party thing? Those robes are long, aren't they?
Yeah. What are you gonna go
Yeah.
to a barbecue in that shit? No.
Yeah.
From a PBS article on Gutzon Borglum, frankly, Borglum had little time for anyone, white or black, who was not a congressman or millionaire or happened to be in his way. There is no indication, for example, that he treated his long-suffering black chauffeur, Charlie Johnson, any differently than any white employee. He owed him back pay just like everyone else.
I'm not racist. Some of my employees are black. Like, okay, King. Sure. My little
Some
KKK.
of my employees I mistreat are black. I mistreat the white ones just like I mistreat the black ones. How can you call me racist?
It's like, babe, you're just also classist.
It just sounds like you're a bad person all around.
Yeah, you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Work on the Stone Mountain project was delayed by 8 years due to the First World War, and carving with
It
jackhammers and chisels. Yeah. I hate when that happens. I hate when you're like all
Who's
ready to
amongst
get
us?
started working on like a video or something, and then you're like, oh, I have to go to war. The president said I had to go to war. I hate that bitch.
Honestly, like, I know we're not supposed to say anything, and like I'm trying to not be like that kind of person, but like the president is kind of a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
He's my
fight your
friend.
own
I'm
war.
allowed to say it. Yeah. So carving with jackhammers and chisels began in 1923. A Belgian engineer taught Gutzon how to use dynamite for precision carving, which expedited work considerably, and the head of Lee was unveiled in 1924. Soldiers in the audience who served with the Confederate leader were allegedly moved to tears by his likeness. Like all of these like veterans of the losing side of the Civil War crying. All these racists crying.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah. Man up.
I don't think they were crying because they were like, oh my god, I love him so much. They were like, fuck, we lost so hard. I tried so
This is really
hard.
triggering for me.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
However, Gutzon was, as we kind of implied earlier, really fucking difficult to work with. And he
Yeah.
eventually got dismissed from the project over a combination of creative differences and financial problems. And before he left the project, Gutzon destroyed all of the models he'd made, claiming that the client had no right to his designs. And they dis-fucking-agreed with that. They were like, this is like working on like an app at your job in tech and being like, actually, I'm gonna take this work computer with me and destroy it because you have no right to this. And Apple is like, I think I fucking do.
I think the fuck I do, actually.
Yeah. I think you signed a contract, bestie. So a warrant was issued for his arrest. He was warned of the arrest, and he managed to escape to North Carolina, whose governor, Angus McLean. Angus!
Okay, number one, two names that I love. Warrant. Angus.
Angus.
These are both so cute.
So the governor, Angus McLean, refused to extradite him. So he was safe from being arrested, but he could never return to Georgia. He was basically exiled from Georgia.
I mean, out of all the places to be exiled from, like, that's fine.
It's not, yeah. Especially Georgia in like the 1920s. Like, there's nothing there for you. The face of Lee that Borglum had partially completed was blasted off the mountain in 1928. Which is so funny.
Deleting photos of your ex from Facebook.
Like, they literally just like blasted it off and started over carving the same thing. Like, besties, you can just like finish the work. So none of his original work survived when the carving was finally finished in 1970. However, the final product pretty much looked exactly like his original designs, and they just like recreated them from memory, which I think is fucking iconic. I am going to send you a picture of what it looks like today. This is the carving I've seen on the mountainside in Georgia. And I will send you as well like one of his models.
Noses.
They've got nice profiles.
Yeah.
They're handsome racists. I'm going to send you a one of his models to show you like what he had intended it to look like. It's like it's virtually the same. It's just like a less 3D version in the final product.
Yeah, his version is like a lot more 3D.
Yeah.
And like it looks more realistic. Like it looks like it's supposed to be like a model of the people as opposed to something closer to like a painting.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the final product is almost like a textured painting.
Yeah.
Should we take another ad break?
Yeah, just a quick one. Who's it gonna hurt?
Should we get some ads for stone?
Stone. I love stone. I love to build walls out of it.
I know this bitch who lives in Pelican Town who can sell you some good stone. if you need like 10,000 stone.
Who's
to
your
get to the
stone
bottom
guy?
of the skull caves. When South Dakota state historian Dwayne Robinson read about all the good work Gutzon had been doing... What? Oh, The Rock Dwayne Robinson. Yeah. Yeah. And he was like, I'm The Rock, and I also love this guy who likes to work with rock. It's like my whole brand. So when he read about all the good work that Gutzon was doing for the KKK at Stone Mountain, he invited Gutzon out to the Black Hills of South Dakota to create a monument there. Robinson wanted to boost tourism to South Dakota, and he thought that a tacky mountain sculpture would be just the thing, representing not only the wild grandeur of its local geography, but also the triumph of Western civilization over that geography through its anthropomorphic representation. So Robinson's initial idea was to depict figures of the Old West, such as Lewis and Clark, Red Cloud, Sacagawea, John C. Fremont, and Crazy Horse. And Gutzon was like, what if we didn't do that? Gutzon wanted the Rushmore Monument to have like more of a national appeal rather than a regional appeal. And he envisioned it as a testament to American exceptionalism and manifest destiny. So he was like, let's not depict any natives. Let's depict US presidents instead as the subjects for the Rushmore Monument. And he started with just George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, later adding Thomas Jefferson and his buddy Teddy Roosevelt to the mix. He'd also initially planned a massive panel in the shape of the Louisiana Purchase, commemorating in 8-foot-tall gilded letters the Declaration of Independence, US Constitution, Louisiana Purchase, and 7 other territorial acquisitions from the Alaska Purchase to the Panama Canal Zone, because this was about empire and expansionism. And it also sounds like really fucking tacky. Gilded
I was like,
letters.
Maximalist much?
8-foot-tall gilded letters in the shape of the Louisiana Purchase. Oh my God.
It's giving like school project.
Yes. Like he might as well make it out of paper mache. And actually, speaking of paper mache, I am going to send you one of the models for the original, like his original plan. Have a look at this.
Paper mache. He named his daughter Pinata.
Oh my God, beautiful name for a girl.
I know.
So this is a model that he made. This is like his original plan for what it would look like.
That's way more ambitious than it turned out, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It was originally planned to be like all the way down to their waist, like a 3/4 length. Like,
and like super
like they're
3D
taking a
as well.
self-tape. Yeah.
Okay. Cute.
Work on the sculpture began in 1927. The carving of Mount Rushmore involved the use of dynamite, followed by a process of honeycombing, where workers would drill holes close together, allowing small pieces to be removed by hand. And like if you go to the monument to this day, I haven't been there. I don't know if like this is something you can just see as a normal tourist or if like you have to get like a special tour, but like you can see like bits of the rock where it's been like, it's like all these like little holes everywhere. It's like pockmarked up close. In total, about 450,000 tons of rock were blasted off the mountainside. The image of Thomas Jefferson was originally intended to appear in the area at Washington's right, but they fucked it up. So the work on Jefferson's figure was dynamited and a whole new Jefferson was sculpted to Washington's left. Gutzon was in charge of the project and it was his vision, but obviously he had the assistance of around 400 workers total, because like one guy isn't going to do that by himself.
Yeah.
From lowly powdermen to skilled sculptors. The chief carver of the mountain was an artisan named Luigi del Bianco, which is like the most Italian name.
I know.
He sounds like Carol Marinera's son.
Yes, and it's gorgeous.
I love him. So Luigi was from Friuli in Italy, and he was chosen to work on the project because of his understanding of sculptural language and his ability to imbue emotion into carved portraits. Their faces are very emotional. He does sound hot. We love an emotional Italian man.
I know.
On this podcast, we love 2 things: orphans and men.
More orphans, more men.
More orphan men. I can be your mommy now. Throughout the project, Gutzon would actually often leave his assistants, including his son Lincoln, to supervise the work for weeks at a time while he traveled the country lobbying for more money for the Rushmore project, completing other commissions, and meeting with politicians and celebrities like Helen Keller.
Okay. You know about fact that Gen Z thinks that she was a psyop, right? You know about this?
No, this is amazing.
They're like,
tell me.
They're like, there's no way this woman was that like blind and deaf. Like, oh, they said she flew a plane. We know that blind people can't fly planes because they can't see. So there's like TikToks that are like, there's like a whole society of Helen Keller truthers out there right
I
now.
love
And it's
this.
fucking bad shit.
Hilarious.
I went down the like Helen Keller rabbit hole on like Keller talk. And it's like unhinged as fuck.
I love that like Gen Z is like split into two camps. There's like the Gen Zers who are like destined to save the world and are smarter than any of us will ever be. And then there's the Gen Zers whose brains are being absolutely fucking vaporized by TikTok. I love it. It's so iconic. Like I can't decide who I love more.
I love both my children equally.
Yeah. You can't make me choose. When Gutzon was present at the site, he was usually being an asshole. He was a perfectionist with a temper, so he'd frequently end up firing all of his best workers in a tantrum, and then his son Lincoln would have to go around hiring them all back behind Gutzon's back. I love him. Originally, it was planned that the figures in the mountain would be carved from head to waist, but they ran out of funding, so that and the Louisiana Purchase carving were canceled. In total, the entire project cost $989,992.32, which is around $21 million in 2024 money.
For that much money, I want that mountain to have dicks.
For that much money, I want them to talk. I want you to like hinge their jaws. So like for events, you can like make them speak.
Like a stupid little fucking little like the puppet
like
jaw
an animatronic.
vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I need it to be animatronic. I need George Washington
go to the
give
top
a
and
speech.
put like a very large quarter in. And they do their little fucking
their little song and dance. Yeah. Like a little light show.
Dance for me, you dead piece of shit.
It's the least they could do. Gutzon Borglum died due to complications from surgery in March of 1941 before the Mount Rushmore project was finished. His son Lincoln oversaw the project for another season, but left it largely in the same state of incompletion that it was in when Gutzon died, and there it remains today. Do you want to see a picture of it?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you some pictures of it like during construction.
Okay.
And then I'm going to very quickly grab a contemporary one.
Oh, this transition timeline.
Yes, transition timeline. I'm not going to show you the before until after because it's sad. Now I'm going to send you a picture of it right how it looks right now.
It's ugly.
It is like
entering
Mount Rushmore
my flop era over here. Like, what is this? Mount Flopmore.
Mount Flopmore. Mount Rushmore is like to me is like a prime example of like how you can have like something that has like a great deal of like technical that is like a technical display of competence. Like it is a very good carving and a very impressive carving, and it still looks tacky, you know? Like just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, I honestly don't even think it's that good. Like there's so little detail because they overestimated their ability to like get this project done that it looks unfinished. And if you look at the detail on his other work, it's like strikingly detailed because you're able to do that when you're not like trying to do something at an impossible scale. And this to me just looks like unfinished, undetailed, and not a good example of his like actual talent. Like his best work looks like the stuff he did on his own. Like
the Lincoln portrait is incredible.
Yeah.
Like not in Mount Rushmore, the marble one. It looks like a photo. And yeah, it's not his best. And again,
even his mock-up of it, that's like so much, it's like
more detailed. Yeah.
Maybe like 5 times his height or something. Like that looks good. Like
Yeah.
it's technically proficient, but it also like it
There's like
conveys a
detail in the
sense.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah, it very much conveys, like, even though these people are like dirtbag presidents, it conveys a sense of like austerity, like
Mm,
of importance. Like, you look at these people and they look
right.
like leaders. Like the
Right.
other the other ones are just like four guys heads. Like they could be anybody.
4 guys ahead's
There's
like emerging from like a mound.
Yeah,
Like,
with no like emotion. There's no like emotion behind
yeah.
it or conveyed by it. So I don't know. Which is like often something that is, if you're very technically proficient, sometimes that is what you make. You make something that looks like incredibly lifelike, which I wouldn't say this is necessarily, but like you
Yeah.
make something that's incredibly lifelike, but then the like the part of art where you get to take like
There's
that
no
creative
artistry.
license to convey like
Yeah.
emotion and like your own meanings that you're trying to imbue in it, like that just
Hmm.
doesn't seem like it's there in this. Mount Flopmore, this is my
Mount Flopmore.
what
Yeah.
2 out of
That's
10
our
out of
review.
yeah.
Don't love it. Gutzon is buried alongside the likes of Walt Disney and L. Frank Baum at Forest Lawn in Glendale,
Oh
California.
my god.
Oh my God, field trip.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Over the years, there have been a number of proposed additional faces to be added to the monument at Mount Rushmore. The first of which was Susan B. Anthony, first proposed in 1937 while work on the sculpture was still ongoing. In 1963, there were proposals to add John F. Kennedy to the sculpture after his assassination. And in 1985 and 1999, there were 2 different proposals to add Ronald Reagan to the sculpture. In 2008, Barack Obama was asked about potentially being added to the sculpture, and he joked that his ears were too large, which I think is like a classy way of avoiding it. Like being like,
Yeah.
no, I'm too ugly. Which is especially cute when you are like objectively the hottest US
Yeah.
president to be like, no, I'm too ugly.
No, sorry, my like giant, hot, sexy little ears would never fit.
And Donald Trump has also expressed his desire to be added to the monument. And I think we should, honestly. Fuck it, we ball. As I said at the start of the episode, the sculpture at Mount Rushmore is built on land that was illegally taken from the Sioux Nation, and the Sioux continue to demand return of the land. Now I'm going to send you a picture of what the 6 grandfathers looked like before it was defaced.
That's objectively better.
It really is. Like, it really highlights how fucking tacky Mount Rushmore looks. Mount Rushmore
What's
looks
it
a
actually
dog
called?
shit. 6 grandfathers,
6 grandfathers.
referring to
Yeah.
north, south, east, west, above, and below.
I would say this is an 8 out of 10 as far as mountains go.
It's a great mountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like a black and white picture. Like, imagine it in full color.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving her an 8 out of 10, because there's a little bit of like a lifelessness to it. But
Right.
it's a black and white photo from like 500 years ago, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was
In
all,
1980
like, these beautiful trees in front of it too back
I
then.
know.
They
That
really
are all
like
cleared away because it's a
clear-cut.
tourist
Yeah.
spot.
Ugh.
You got to have like the
It's
big
so
walkway with
na-
all the flags that people are walking up to, and a parking lot. You got to have a parking lot so that people can park their cars.
It's so fucking gross.
It was made for road trippers. Like, in 1980, the US Supreme Court ruled in United States versus Sioux Nation of Indians that the taking of the Black Hills required just compensation and awarded the tribe $102 million. But
Thanks.
the Sioux have consistently refused that money, demanding instead the return of the land because it was never for
Yeah.
fucking sale.
Yeah.
Today, that initial reward of $102 million remains untouched and has grown to over $1 billion with interest.
Oh.
Gutzon Borglum titled his monument Shrine of Democracy. Many Indigenous activists refer to it pejoratively as the Shrine of Hypocrisy. It is not only the desecration of their sacred lands and the disfigurement of the 6 grandfathers, but the 4 presidents depicted, Abraham fucking Lincoln included, all have records of violent anti-indigeneity. Gutzon Borglum's monument at Mount Rushmore has become an insignia, a kind of visual shorthand for the desecration of native lands and humanity at the hands of the U.S. government, and the site itself has been the site of numerous native protests throughout the years. And again, it looks really fucking tacky.
Yeah.
It looks like shit, bestie.
There's like literally nothing good about it.
Some native leaders have advocated for the removal of the carving, whereas others have called for it to be allowed to erode naturally to avoid further destruction of the mountain rock.
Mhm.
Some believe that the national monument should be turned into something like a Holocaust museum to educate people on the way we genocided native people.
Yeah.
But for now, the faces of the 4 presidents on 6 grandfathers will remain as they are, being cared for by federal parks employees. As of yet, the U.S. government has no plans to return the lands or the 6 grandfathers back to the people it was stolen from, and the Sioux people have no plans to accept the bribe awarded to them by the Supreme Court in 1980. Around the time that this episode comes out, the United States will be celebrating its Independence Day. There will be a fireworks display at the Mount Rushmore Monument celebrating Anglo-American emancipation from British taxes or whatever the fuck. But if you really want to do your patriotic duty as an American or whatever, head to the Lakota People's Law Project Action Center and sign their petition to return the Black Hills to the Lakota. And maybe check out a few of the other actionable campaigns on their website. We will have them linked in the description. Here at Respect the Dead, we support land back movements globally.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Hills are stolen land, and they are not for sale. Land back now.
I loved this one. I'm really glad I didn't learn this from anywhere but here.
Right.
Because I would not have trusted like 99% of the sources that I would have learned this from. Unless like obviously they're from like indigenous sources or whatever. But
Right.
like if you go on like YouTube to like look something like this up, it's going to be like a 5-minute glorified version of the mythologized version of this. Not like I ever would have like went to YouTube and been like, tell me about Mount Rushmore, because I don't care.
I tried. I tried, and it's all exactly what you said. It's like 5-minute videos. I think there was one by like NPR or TED Talk or something that was a 5-minute video that was actually like the dark story of of Mount Rushmore, and it talked about specifically like the way the land was stolen, and that was cool. But yeah, most of it is just like, yeah, he was like a really good sculptor, and like there's this cool hidden room behind Lincoln's head, and it's like, okay, that's like mildly interesting, but that's not like the story. The story is that like
tiny little unisex bathroom inside Lincoln's skull.
It's like a time capsule basically that he put back there with like a copy of like the Declaration of Independence and shit, and also this Gutzon's life story, which again, iconic. We love him. So here's the story of America, and more importantly, here's the story about me. Love him. But also hate him. Rot in hell. And if you want to go piss on his grave, he is in Glendale, California, and you can make a little pit stop to piss on Walt Disney as well.
Cute. This is my pit stop. Like, I'm not
They're
stopping
neighbors.
there. I'm stopping at his grave. Okay, well, thank you for that one.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. Oh, we should probably do our socials, right?
Oh yeah.
You can find us on all platforms at _respect the dead. You can find me at Punished Hoots and on YouTube at Hoots YouTube.
And I'm Kaylin Conrad on literally everything. And all those links are in the description as well.
Buy some merch.
Oh yeah, we have such cute merch. Oh, do we
I always
ever
forget that we have
mention
merch.
the merch?
No.
It's so
This
cute.
is some of
also,
it.
leave a review.
So cute.
Also, leave a review. We haven't asked anyone to do that in like
I know, we haven't. We're so bad.
I was thinking about this in bed.
Please
the other
leave
night.
a 5-star
I'm like,
review.
We're so bad at this.
We're so bad at our job. Please sign up for a Patreon and give us money so we can keep being bad at our job. I promise to never get better.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, besties.